Alright, so SHALLTEAR. She is the last PvP character I got showcase. Already done Albedo and Ainz. And I gave her attack crit because she is a DPS character. Now, I've already tried her out quite a bit before recording, both geared and ungeared, because I am a bit sick and I tried jumping in without a plan and my brain couldn't process much, but I'll be talking about what she does and what I think about her so far, having already used her quite a bit. So, I'll be honest. She is an odd unit. As in, the way I see her, she is a... I don't want to say it like this, but she is a worse version of Purgatory Melee. And, I mean, you think, oh, Purgatory Melee, you know, he's an OP character. So, being a worse version of him is not that bad. Well, that's true and not true. Because Purgatory Melee is almost a year old. But how she works is, every time she attacks and does damage, key point, if you attack with her on a dodge, it doesn't happen. She gets a stack of HP related stats of 7%. You can see right there I got one. Or if your team takes damage. Now, at the beginning of your turn, if you have 3 stacks, she converts those stacks into a buff that buffs her attack related stats by 40%, reduces her defense related stats by 30%, and once that buff is gone, because that buff only lasts 1 turn, she regenerates 40% of max HP. So we got a stack right there. We're gonna get another one. And at the beginning of our turn, if we don't die here... Oh my god. We are gonna convert that into this, you know, buff right here. And now, this is where she's very, very strong. So let's do this. She can put up insane damage. Yeah, that's not bad. She missed 2 crits, but, you know. Again. This is where she's very, very strong. The problem I have is that key point that it has to be at the beginning of your turn. So for example, right now, majority of matches I've played were against Albedo. And she doesn't attack, she counters. Albedo players maybe attack once. Maybe. They use her counter card, yeah, that minus 30% defense related stats coming in handy right there. They use her counter card and then don't attack and just hold lane and just use counter card every single turn. That's not very good for her. And then on top of that, if you compare her, for example, to like Purgatory Melee, which has an extremely similar passive, Purgatory Melee has damage reduction. She has nothing, so. But on top of that, for each unknown ally on the battlefield, she gets 7% basic stats. And when she does her AoE card, which is, in fact, she applies bleed to all the enemies for 2 turns. That is very important because if the enemy does not have bleed, she does not do damage. Very, very important. Because her card... I'm just gonna... Bro, I don't care. Because if the enemy doesn't have bleed, her card doesn't do any damage. This card does double damage and double crit damage to enemies that have bleed. So, I found that the best way to go here is to apply the bleed in the first turn and then hope that the enemy attacks you twice so that in the second turn you have the buff. If you depend on the enemy attacking you 3 times for then you in your turn get the buff, it's just not happening. Like out of the many, I won't say many, but out of the like 12 matches I played, that didn't happen once because everyone's using a sort of stance card and or just moves a card. Alright, that's 1 stack. That's tier gone. But it's fine because SHALLTEAR should be doing enough damage. So the problem here, right? I missed... This is why I bring Tyr, by the way, because crew resistance lower is very good for her. If you miss the crit, she does no damage. Thankfully, her crit chance is pretty high. So, do this. And this. And this. This should kill everyone. Unless she misses, like, all 3 crits. Like, she is very inconsistent with the crits, I found. On Mally, obviously, she's not gonna miss because he has like no crew resistance. But here she might. Okay, no misses. That's very good. Very, very inconsistent. Like I can make a video of only perfect matches where I get full crits and she obliterates, and people are gonna like very much enjoy that. But I need to be honest because you know, you guys are gonna spend real money on these banners depending on how good the characters are. And if I just tell you lies, I don't think that's you know what I should do. So I don't care to hurt some people's feelings if that means that I'm not lying. So we're gonna open up with these 3 attacks here. Albedo is like very unfortunate to face with SHALLTEAR. I'll tell you that. Very, very unfortunate because Albedo takes like no damage from SHALLTEAR. Especially in geared. I don't know if I have influenced that, probably not, because most people I'm placing are Japanese players that probably don't watch my videos. But I'm not doing the damage, and I'm assuming it's because these players are using full crit defense. See, he counters, and he does 1 attack. And so now, I don't have the buff. I just don't have the buff. And if so just showing... it's beginning of turn, right? I'm gonna kill because Tyr is gonna obliterate here, but I attack here and I don't have the buff, I just have 3 buffs now. It needs to be at the beginning of your turn that you're gonna be getting those buffs, so it's like a worse version of Purgatory Melee, right? Where Purgatory Melee, the moment those 3 stacks of damage reduction go away, you instantly get the attack buff. She takes, you know, that extra step. Alright, swapped here Hell for Albedo, because I actually kind of like this combo. I really like her Infect. Alright, I think her Infect is one of the things that is keeping her afloat, so to speak. And Infect plus Albedo's counter is definitely pretty good. So we already have 2 stacks. So next turn we're gonna have the... Let's do this. We're gonna have the buff, no problems. And here, you know, with a taunt, I can protect her once she gets to that point where she has minus 30% defense related stats. Like I said, you know, when she gets that minus 30% defense related stats, she's dead. Like if she gets an attack, if you don't wipe the enemy team with her, right, you're dead. Minus 30% is such a big number that you're taking every crit, you are just getting annihilated. But it's more bearable once you have someone taunting and protecting her. And as you could see, Albedo is a better unit. But, you know, it is what it is. Just gonna do good damage here. Yeah. 1.3. We had Albedo's attack buff from her stance going away. So I actually did confirm this yesterday, trying to get more. When Albedo's stance goes away, you give all your allies attack related stat buff. And obviously we had the 50%. So that was a tremendous amount of damage. Oh, I forgot to talk about her relic. So her relic, you read exactly, so I'm not missing the numbers here. When you attack an enemy that has bleed, you heal allies HP by 30% of the damage you deal. So it's actually, you know, pretty good. So, like, I'll be honest, she's a very fun character. She reminds me a lot of... What's his face? Rudius. That's who she reminds me of. There is a big setup. Oh, I forgot to leave her. I meant to leave her, not here. There's a big setup that is needed for her single targets to, you know, put in work. But once they do, she can really put in work, right? There is definitely that. But at the same time, you know, you can see that sometimes it could be better. Like, we haven't had a moment yet where she missed every crit on a single target. If you watched my first video on the collab, we're using all 3 characters, you definitely saw it. But playing off camera, I had so many moments where she just missed all 3 crits. Because the thing is, right? Everyone has very high crit resistance these days, right? And if you don't have tier, especially if tier dies, you're not hitting crits. And even with tier, I've had moments where she misses all 3 crits with the 50% extra attack related stats. So it can happen, and it's not great. Once that happens, it's very unfortunate. It's like right here, I'm heavily debuffed by Bon, so hopefully I can just kill him. Askar doesn't have bleed. He's not going to take much damage, but we'll see. Nice. So long as she doesn't miss the crits, because she does double crit damage. So long as she doesn't miss the crits, the damage is tremendous. Like even there, without a bleed on Askar, she still did good damage. Thankfully, I mean, have I had a moment in this video where she did bad? I don't know. My brain's not working very well. Yeah, I was gonna put out like 4 videos today, but I don't know now because I think I'm worse than yesterday. Do this so I can... The thing is that what's gonna happen here likely is they're gonna use her taunt and then not attack, and I'm not gonna get any buffs. And I just got corrosed by Hell. Hell is also someone you definitely don't want to face with SHALLTEAR because of the corrosions. You want an AoE, right? I forgot about my dodge. Yeah, it would be very helpful if I had an opportunity to, like, maybe, you know, use another card and then... If it wasn't the beginning of turn, it would be much better. Maybe they thought about it and they were like, okay, if it is the beginning of turn, it's too strong. Might have been something like that. Yeah. No buff means no damage. My god. Sick. Yeah, I didn't have my own counter, so... Going first against albedo players is terrible. Because, you know, the first turn they're gonna have the taunt. You're not gonna do any damage to them. Then second turn they taunt again. Yeah. Then you say, you know, just don't attack albedo. I would have died regardless, it doesn't matter. Next turn it was death. Because, you know, I need to activate that bleed, right? And if I don't activate the bleed, she's not going to do any damage. I need to have an attack in so that I can get one stack. And by doing that, I'm instantly losing 30% of my health. It's a guaranteed minus 30% by just doing an AoE. There are, you know, both her and Ainz are in an interesting position where if Hell moves out of the meta, they're gonna be so much better off. So much better off. She just cocks them tremendously. There's damage cap, so let me kill her first. I'm gonna do this. I think she kills Tyr. Yep. Yeah, if she pops off her damage, if the enemy allows you, you are in a good position. It's just Albedo players, they just don't attack you. That's the big issue. Albedo Hell players are very common. Thankfully in this recording we face like what, 1 or 2? But while I was playing by myself, it was like every match. Minus maybe like 1 or 2. Very tough to deal with. Same thing. I'm just gonna do this so I can proc the... Oh, no dodge. I can proc the bleed. Then hopefully... They're not going to, but... Yeah, because I need dodge. I need dodge. But they're... Oh, they're just gonna pop an ultimate. Or not, because they're gonna lose ult gauge. Even if they don't do damage, it still procs Nanasha's damage, or ult lower. Yep. I mean... See, right here, Tyr can take a lot of damage. He's got the plus 40% damage increase on him from, yeah. Yep. Going first against Albedo is a death sentence. They get the plus attack related stats. If you don't attack, you get the damage increase. It's just awful. It's just awful. You're just a sitting duck with this character. If she doesn't have the buff, she does no damage. If she has the buff, she takes a lot of damage. I mean, it works well against bots. So this is a bot. We're gonna do some good damage against them. We're gonna do some pretty good damage against them. Likely. Got the attack buff. Pop the AoE. I'm gonna kill her actually. Yeah, once she has the both her own attack buff and Albedo's attack buff, that's like I think the ideal. Oh no. Bruh. Oh no. Level 1, huh? That's like the ideal. Like, I think you can definitely have some fun using her. But you're gonna have to get used to, you know, losing because of her inconsistency. I think it's what I would say. Alright, let's play some ungeared. Then we can wrap it up. Like, the amount of heavy carrying that Albedo did this video is is pretty crazy. Same guy. I already know he doesn't have dodge, so I'm just gonna go in on his Albedo. I'm not gonna do the most damage because, you know, she does have the 50% damage reduction. But whatever damage I do here, because, you know, we have Infect, he's not gonna heal it back next turn. He's probably gonna go for a ult rush again. It's very likely. Oh, he's going for her ult rush. He's not gonna have the attack buff anymore next turn, though. Am I really that concerned about her ultimate if she doesn't have the attack buff? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Kinda wanna see what happens. Oh no, I'm dumb. Again, sorry. I mean... Is she tanking this? Is the question. She has minus 30% and the damage increase. Yeah, she's dead. Minus 30% defense related stats and Albedo's increase. Like, she wasn't tanking that, that's for sure. Oh, Albedo. Albedo's still a beast. Now, if she goes for her ult, I might be in trouble. Mainly because I don't have a way of bleeding her right now. Like, I have a level 2, but no way of bleeding. Should still be alright. More concerned about Albedo's ultimate since it's AoE, so I'm gonna do this. You see what happens when you attack someone that doesn't have bleed? That's exactly what happens. I'm gonna end the video here, so you remember. If the enemy doesn't have bleed, her damage is terrible. Terrible. So, good unit, highly inconsistent, unlikely she'll be meta tier because of that. Inconsistent characters aren't meta. You will unlikely to see her in a few weeks, but Albedo is definitely staying.